Hello! In this video, we will learn how to create a program, text the user to explain how the program works, request data from the user, use an if-then statement, and then we will display the information to the user. Let's start by selecting number 1, New, and then selecting number 9, Add Program Editor, and selecting number 1, New. In this program, we'll have the user type in their age to determine whether or not they're old enough to drive a car. So an appropriate name for this code could be age. And then we'll use the tab key and select OK. We are now in the body of our program, age. We'll start with a text to the user to explain what this program will do. We'll press Menu, and anytime you're dealing with the user, you want to work with Input-Output, which is number 6. And we want to use number 5, Text. Anything you put within quotes, Control, Multiply, will appear on the screen for the user to read. Enter your age to determine if you are old enough to drive a car. Period. Enter. We now need to request the age of the user. So I'll go to Menu, select number 6, Input Output, and do number 3, Request. Control multiplication to get the quotes. Enter your age. On the right-hand side of the quotes, put a comma, and then choose a variable to represent age. I'll use A, and then I'll press Enter to get to the next line of code. We are now to step 4. Use an if-then statement. We go to Menu, and we look for Control, and there's a little if right out in front to let you know that's where you're looking. We need to use an if, then, and if option 2. When we select it, we see the if, then, and end if in the body of our code. We now need to compare the age the user entered to the driving age where we live. If A is less than, Control equals, less than 16, then we want to display to the user, you are not old enough to drive. Let's see our code in action. So if I press Control R to run our code, I'm taken to 1.2, and there I see my program, age. I'll press Enter, and here is my text message. Enter your age to determine if you are old enough to drive a car. I'll press Enter, and now it comes up with the request, enter your age. I'll put in 13. When I press Enter, it says you are not old enough to drive a car. I wish to run that program again. If I press Enter, it'll tell me again to enter my age to see if I'm old enough to drive a car, but it remembers that I'm 13. I'll put in 21 and press Enter, and nothing happens. We need to add to this program so that it knows what to display if the user is 16 years of age or older. So let's go back to page 1.1. You can either click on the tab 1.1 or press Control left arrow to navigate back to 1.1. We're going to improve upon our code by adding an else if statement. We will navigate to the next line after the display you are not old enough to drive, and we can put in else, if, and we need to put in our test. A is greater than or equal to 16, then display start your engine. Let's now check if our code works. Control R will check syntax, store, and get it ready to run. Press enter. Here is our text. Enter your age to determine if you're old enough to drive a car. I will press enter. And for the first age, I'll put in 12. You are not old enough to drive. I'll press enter again to run it. Enter your age to determine if you're old enough to drive a car. I'll put in 22. When I press enter, start your engine. Let's try 16 and see what happens. Enter your age to determine if you're old enough to drive a car. 16 should be old enough to start your engine. And because it was greater than or equal to, we have start your engine. Now remember, we could localize the variable a so that it doesn't appear in the code when we run it. I can see when I press the var button that the variable a appears. I can go back. I can enter in a line. And in there, I can put in menu, define variables, local, a, and now when I run my code, I will no longer see the previous entry. Control R, enter, 83 years old, start your engine, 10 years old, you are not old enough to drive.